Shalom Akim. Yes man, Aria back at you with another lesson. So we got this interview here, Mukumbaka, former poet or dub poet as it's described, and this is from one of those little news channels. But the title is Ties to British Monarchy Renew Calls for Reparations for Slavery. Some of the interviews of these reparation commissioners. We're going to go through the spirit and hear some of the interesting talking points that I mentioned. And before I start the video, I'm going to read a precept, because I'm going to try not to keep cutting it and bringing in precepts, but I'm going to bring this one out just to start the ball rolling. Habakkuk chapters 2 and 6 says, Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thou foreskins be uncovered, and the cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. So shameful spewing is on the glory, on thy glory of the monarch, the famous or now infamous monarch. So we're going to let the video play and hear some of these interesting talking points by the infamous, Jamaica, which has a very bad reputation, which was given to them. But most of it was given to them. But you hear what you see what they're saying there when go back home. This is when you had Prince Edward visiting Jamaica and his wife. Was it Edward? You got Harry and you got the other one there. I think it's Edward. I'm not too business about them names, but you know what I'm saying. This is the spirit that is in Jamaica when it comes to the monarchy and the throne and everything else. It totally, and you got some Jamaicans that are for it, and a lot of Africans that are for it, and certain people like Scottish and Irish that are for it, but majority of people really understand history, and it breaks down some of these facts. So let's go in without further ado from the top. Like I say, we're going to roll in the spirit and hit necessary precepts when necessary.
King Charles III addresses the British Parliament for the first time as monarch. We begin today's show looking at the legacy of British colonialism in the Caribbean, where there are growing calls for reparations. The Caribbean at one point formed the heart of England's first colonial empire in North America. Many of the more than 2.5 million enslaved Africans taken to the British Caribbean were worked to death. The string of island nations includes Jamaica, Barbados, the Bahamas, Antigua and Barbuda, and Trinidad and Tobago, among many others now in the British Commonwealth. Following the death of Queen Elizabeth II, the Prime Minister of the twin island nation Antigua and Barbuda said voters may soon decide whether to leave the Commonwealth and become a republic. Prime Minister Gaston Browne spoke to ITV News after he confirmed Charles III as king and head of state.
This is not an act of hostility or any difference between Antigua and Barbuda and the monarchy, but it is the final step, as I said before, to complete that circle of independence, to ensure that we are truly a sovereign nation. What sort of time frame would you think on a referendum then? So I'd say within the next probably 3 years.
This comes after Barbados voted last year to break from its colonial past and become a republic. Meanwhile, in Jamaica, the ruling Labour Party says it also plans to hold a referendum on becoming a republic. For more, we're joined in Kingston, Jamaica, by the renowned Jamaican dub poet Muta Baruka, who's also a musician, radio show host as well. And in St. John's, Antigua, Gabrine Omar is with us, the chairperson of the Antigua and Barbuda Reparations Commission, also an ambassador at large of Antigua. We welcome you both to Democracy Now! Gabrine Omar, let's begin with you. With the death of the Queen, first your response, and then what you're calling for your country.
Well, it's good to be here. Let me say thanks for having me. In terms of my response, I will be very measured here. I will recognize that we are talking about death. We are talking about the loss of human life. that the Queen would have had family, etc. But I'm under no obligation, I think, to be mourning her death. Um, and that is simply because of, I think, my understanding of history, my understanding of the relationship of the British monarchy to African people and Asian people, but to African people certainly on the continent and here in the Caribbean. And so that my response is perhaps to recognize the role that Queen Elizabeth II has played, how she has managed to cloak the historical brutality of empire in this veneer of grandeur and pomp and pageantry, I guess, graciousness. But I think that at this point in time, we need to examine that history a lot more closely.
And speaking of that history, could you, for those people
Pomp
who are
and
not
pageantry.
aware, especially of
What
the
about
roles of King
serpent?
Charles
What about
I and
serpentry
King
or
Charles
subtile?
II in the Caribbean,
Subtile
and
serpents.
especially towards your country, could you talk about that?
Well, if we look at the role of a monarchy, so we are going back now, mid 17th century, 1600s. King Charles I was perhaps the monarch, I think, that opened the trade between Britain and Africa. That was originally gold, minerals, etc., that opened that trade up to human trafficking, to the enslavement, to the movement of enslaved Africans. King Charles II, who followed him, actually was responsible, along with his then cousin, who later became James I, totally responsible and ownership of the Royal African Company that moved more Africans off of the continent into the Americas than any other company in history. So what we're talking about here is the involvement of British monarchy in the ownership and the operation of the transatlantic, I prefer to call it, of the European slave trade, the movement of Africans into the Caribbean. And so we now see this movement, and even before Charles I, we can be addressing Elizabeth I, and we see this recurrence, of course, in the names that we're talking about. And so we now supposedly should be mourning the death of Elizabeth II, and welcoming a Charles III. But we know them. We know these Charleses, and we know these Elizabeths. So there's virtually no mourning for me at this moment.
I'd also like to bring in Musa Baruka, the renowned Jamaican poet, musician. Your response to the death of Queen Elizabeth and also of the British Empire's relationship to Jamaica.
Good morning. I am totally in agreement with the first speaker, and I don't even want to go back into slavery because a lot of people claim that Queen Elizabeth was not responsible for what her ancestors did. She herself said that slavery was legal at the time, so she don't really recognize what we in the Caribbean is talking about. Now, we have to realize in 1952 that was when she ascended the throne of England. And if you check the history between that.
Yeah, in other words, when she says she doesn't know what they were talking about the colonization and the brutal treatment of the slaves, she's saying it wasn't me like a typical criminal would do. They wouldn't put their hands up, even though their hands been caught in the cookie jar. They come out and say, it wasn't me. I don't know what you're talking about. That's what you call deflection or denial, isn't it?
That was when she ascended the throne of England. And if you check the history between 1952 and now, you will see that even though slavery was abolished, but they, what we call it, redefined slavery and call it colonialism. And colonialism in this part of the world was represented by the throne of England. So we're not really talking now about an individual person, we're talking about a corporation, an institution, which is called the Monarchy of England, that has totally devastated a lot of the progress we could have made if it wasn't for this what we call colonialism interpreted to us as slavery. Now, we have to remember, in her time, there was the Mama uprising, which is a very interesting case because she was actually named Queen of England when she was in Kenya. And the cruel and wicked things that the British Army did to the African people there cannot be seen as just, okay, that is just something. And she has never granted any sympathy or say anything that would say, well, you know, to have a kind of art to what was taking place. We look in South Africa through the apartheid system. The British is part of that wicked apartheid regime that devastated until thousands of Africans who were fighting for right to be a person in South Africa. And it was not, it was recently, even during the time of Mandela and with Mandela, that we was told that they were still on the list of terrorist groups. And even though England and this queen was ruling at that time, there was no effort to find out what is it they can do to alleviate the problems that confront African people in this part of the world. Now we come to the Caribbean.
So that makes her guilty of all those crimes, that guilty as charged, which Revelation talks about them sins have massed up into heaven. I'm going to try not to interrupt too much, okay?
In this time, the Caribbean, they can do to alleviate the problems that confront African people in this part of the world. Now we come to the Caribbean in this time. The Caribbean has been devastated. We know in history, one of the richest plantation owners, cane owners, was a man by the name of William Beckford. William Beckford got his riches and became one of the richest men in England in that time. And up to this day, when we recognize how much people died because of the institutionalized slavery that they call colonialism, up to this day, the movement of our people, especially in Jamaica now, where our constitution was given to us by England through the hands of the so-called Bustamante and Norman Marley, who was recognized during that time in 1962 when Jamaica was supposed to be getting independent. They went to England and they got a constitution that is now part and parcel of what Jamaicans is supposed to live by. And when we look at that constitution, it does not include ownership of land.
Yeah, this is the cry when Prince Charles went out to visit Jamaica. This was the cry. Go back home. He was Prince Charles, and it could have been Harry and the other one, which I don't know his name. Yeah, reparations now. Not go, not to racist genocidal family. Yeah, not to racist genocidal family. This is what they feel. This is the vibration that's out in Jamaica, right? And they are correct. Let me just bring out a precept. I'm gonna try not to keep stopping it, but the spirit on me to bring this out. John chapters 10 and 10 says, "The thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy." Right. Enough said on that. The thief cometh not but to kill, to steal, and to destroy. And who are the murderers then? the main colonizer was the Queen, as he's going in, explaining very eloquently.
Given to us by England through the hands of the so-called Bustamante and Norman Madley, who was recognized.
Hold on, there's a point here. Let me just bring that back.
Died because of the institutionalized slavery.
Yeah, a whole heap of people died, so-called freedom fighters, because of the slavery and the oppression of the monarch, the crown, the throne. Holy people died under her rule, the 70-year rule, right, which is one of the longest rule of the monarch. So she's guilty upon guilty, guilty as charged.
With a man by the name of William Bedford.
That's it.
Bedford,
that's what I wanted.
One of the richest plantation owners, cane owners, with a man by the name of William Bedford. William Bedford got his riches and became one of the richest men in England in that time. And up to this day, when we recognize how much people died because of the institutionalized slavery that they call colonialism, up to this day, the movement of people, especially in Jamaica now, where our constitution was given to us by England through the hands of the so-called Bustamante and Norman Madley, who was recognized during that time in 1962 when Jamaica was supposed to be getting independent. They went to England and they got a constitution that is now part and parcel of what Jamaicans is supposed to live by. And when we look at that constitution, it does not include ownership of land in Jamaica by the people. If you go to the courts of Jamaica, it says the Crown versus Tom Stoke or the Crown versus John Tom. That is what we have to face right now. Now, when you recognize that Jamaica is supposed to be an independent country, most Jamaicans say if Jamaica is independent, that even though people say it's like it's not really governing the country, but the head of state is the Governor General representing the Queen of England in an independent country. How the hell that is possible? That you have an independent country that is the first lady is the Governor General wife, not the Prime Minister's wife. And they set and design the Constitution that way. And these so-called, we call them Moses slaves, jacket and tie slaves, that they continue to uphold and maintain that regime that has committed so much atrocities and crimes in this century, in this time. They have been committing it and still committing it. And we don't see why we should now sit down and say 12 day morning. That will show how backward and how called the Stockholm syndrome has grabbed our leaders in the Caribbean. That here's a family that represents criminal activities upon your ancestors.
Yeah, that might be another video or under that word. Potentially that's another video. He just gave me another video there by the word he mentioned there, Stockholm syndrome. Might do a video on that, because a lot of people suffer from that, and that's a medical condition. Yeah, the solution to that is Yahushua return. As a matter of fact, the solution to a lot of sicknesses, diseases, and brainwash diseases, is the solution to all of those things is Yahushua return, which we're going to hit some precepts. The solution to everything is the return of Yahushua, as it says in Daniel chapters 2 and 18. We might bring that one out.
Why we should know and say 12 day morning, that will show how backward and how called the Stockholm syndrome has grabbed our leaders in the Caribbean. That here's a family that represents criminal activities upon your ancestors. And now you start to love them. How is that possible? How is that possible that we who know the history, as people repeating the history, we know what is taking place in this democratic, so-called democratic country, that is still honoring the most wholesome and full monarchy that ever exists, and we know of it.
All right. Daniel 7:18 says, "But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom even forever, forever and ever." Right, that's the cure, man. That's the cure to Stockholm syndrome and to all the other diseases and sicknesses that's out there. And that's a big one out. That's a big one to a lot of so-called, so-called those under being colonized. They're suffering from that said word, Stockholm syndrome.
We know what is taking place in this democratic, so-called democratic country, that is still honoring the most wholesome and full monarchy that ever exists, and we know of it. How can we now sit and say, oh, I have 12 days of mourning? 12 days of mourning for what? Not the mourning that far. Why we're not mourning for the thousands and millions of people that died across the Atlantic Ocean? We're not mourning for all the warriors.
Well said.
Of our time. There's no day for Taki, there's no day for Nani. All of these people who died because they stand up.
Yeah, they're under the altar crying out for Most High to avenge their blood. That's in Revelation chapter 6. All those that died, yeah, for the freedom fighting or for whatever reason. The prophets also, they're out there, right there, they're up there in the heaven now, calling to the Most High under the altar for the vengeance and justice. So he's right, he's right. Even a broken clock, he's right twice a day. But you know what? A philosopher, a poet, a musician, can be on point on a lot of topics. And this particular topic, a lot of people are on point with this because they see the injustices and they've lived the injustices. And over there in Jamaica, that is what they do. The sufferers, they live that. And Nigeria too. If you watch how they move and how their behavioral patterns is very similar to the Nigerians. See?
There's no day for Taki, there's no day for Nani. All of these people who died.
Which are they're the same people. That's why Israelites.
To get out of the cloud of British colonialism. We don't sit and say we must mourn. I am not one of them who's mourning, and I can talk for a lot of Rastafari, brothers and sisters. We don't sit at a mourning time.
Baruka, I wanted to ask your response to Charles at the time, Prince Charles, just a few weeks ago, praising the contribution of Jamaicans to British life is immeasurable in a message commemorating Jamaica's 60 years of independence from the UK. Now you have Jamaica also talking, like Antigua and Barbuda, of a referendum on complete independence, on becoming a republic. What do you think the outcome of that will be, and what would reparations and an apology look like to you? Be adequate for you? By the way, it's an honor to speak with you again after so many years, having talked to you in Brooklyn.
All right. What he's saying is what we expect him to say. Actions speak louder than words. And if he is here now to do certain things, he must understand how we feel as African people in this part of the world and what his family and ancestors did. So to address this.
So yeah, we're just picking out the bones, Akim. We know we're the Hebrew Israelites. Just to make that clear, we know we're the Hebrew Israelites. So we're picking out the bones. We're not African.
He did that already. He came to the Caribbean and said, go and feel bad about what was happening. Would mean somebody saying, look here, we see what happened and we were responsible for it and we're sorry and we're going to make amends. And the amends come with what we call it, what them call getting something going between the governments of the different countries them to facilitate reparation and repatriation. Because we're not taking that out for those who desire to go back to Africa because we came to Jamaica not by free will, but by force. Nobody asked to come to the Caribbean. None of these Africans, at least my ancestors never asked to come here. So the Rastafari community is crying out saying, reparation, repatriation, meaning that those who desire us of going back to Africa must be able to do this without the argument about commonwealth of nations, and that is really an ignorance. There's no moving away from the queen and the monarchy. It's the countries that claim getting rid of the monarch is one, but if you still in the commonwealth of nations, that still bind and grip you to the same colonial system that you are trying to break free from. There's no getting rid of the queen or getting rid of the king, and you're still into the commonwealth. We as Jamaicans, there's a lot of grandfathers and who's living today who fought in the Royal Air Force in World War II and who went to England to help build up England. And what we hear now, first of all, Jamaicans have to have a visa to go to the so-called motherland. Jamaicans is not allowed to stay there at a certain length of time. And now we have the Windrush people who just recently we see that they're trying to send back people who was in England for 60 years and have children and them house and everything. They're sending them back to Jamaica. That is one of the most racist things that I have ever seen in my lifetime. Where you go to build a country.
Mutawaruka, I'd like to bring in on this issue.
Right, let me bring out this precept because he spoke about repatriation. Right, we know that's back to Africa and reparations, but we have the solution. Yeah, first and foremost, we know we're Hebrew Israelites. We know that we're not African people. Right, so our people, some of them still are in darkness, which the Most High, Lord willing, the Most High wake them up. Habakkuk chapters 2, the solution is not reparations or repatriation, and 8 is a solution. Because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because men's blood, and for the violence of the land of the city, and of all they that dwell therein. Yeah, because they have spoiled many nations. Right, they've spoiled many nations, so they gonna be spoiled. Yeah, the remnant of the people shall spoil thee. Right, we know we're not African people. They've spoiled people, and they've lied about who we are as a people. But we are here now, the prophets are here now to let our people know that they're the children of Yahshua Allah. The so-called black people are the children of Israel. The so-called black people, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are Hebrew Israelites. So we're no longer under that spell. Let's be clear on that.
On this issue of reparations, Dobrino Marde also, if you could tell us in the letter that your commission submitted to the royal family, what were some of the demands and how do you see reparations?
Certainly. The letter that we wrote, well, it would have been our second letter addressed to British Monarch. Earlier, I think maybe about a year or two before.
Yeah, we don't need to be writing our letters either. I'll read it again. Daniel chapters 7 and 8. It says, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever and ever, even forever. We don't need to be writing letters, begging letters, 1, 2 letters, not getting no reply. We're going to take the kingdom, right? And we're not begging for no reparations, because we're going to get our reparations, spiritual reparations in blood. And when you even talk about it in money, if you even mention it in money, that's going to be to infinity by way of gold, silver, precious gems, stone, land. As they mentioned, they ain't even got no land after all the colonization they've been under, right? Not even a kick up the butty and a bit of land you've got. You understand? So that's what you call wickedness and oppression. Right, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess it forever, even forever. He's going to ramble on a little bit. I'm going to let him say what he needs to say. There are some certain things you have to pick out the bones, right, and yam the meat, and that's what we're doing in this particular video. We're picking out the bones and dashing away the bones.
In our second letter addressed to British Monarch. Earlier, I think maybe about a year or two before, Prince Harry was here. And certainly this year or last year, I mean, I'm getting lost within this COVID mess. The other brother was also here, who is now, I guess, destined to be the next King of England. And our letter simply said to them that we were very tired and rather insulted by their approach.
Yeah, that's the brother of the son of Prince Charles, the brother of Harry, the son of Prince Charles. Harry's one of them, and I don't know the name of the other one. I don't care to know anyway. I don't think this guy knows. You see, they ain't got no. If you was really a prince or a king, people at least remember your name, man. You would really roll, but you ain't roll. You ain't got a roll, one drop of raw blood in your bodies. None of you, so-called monarchs and whatever else titles that they go under, the prince, the kings, the queen, they ain't got one drop of raw blood in their body. The real royalty are the princes of the power, the so-called black people, right? We're the ones with raw blood in our body, running right through our veins, from the head to our toes. We're the royalty, right? And let me bring out this precept. Yeah, let me bring this precept out. Because we got precepts, we got scriptures to back up what we say. We don't just pull things out, make things up, right? Because we're not like you thieves, plunderers, murderers, come to kill, steal, and destroy. We talk truth. Ecclesiastes chapters 10 and 7 says, I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking. There you go, man. You see? Seen servants. They're servants on horses, right? Yeah, and horses we know represent power, right? But the princes, what are they doing? The princes walking as servants upon the horses, right? And that's backed up in history, right? That's backed up in history. We're the true servants. Or I should say, we're the true princes, the true royalty that was Satan. Yeah, rebuke Satan. I rebuke Satan. Yes, so we're the true royalty, the true princes, and the servants are on horses right now. Yeah, he's given the world has been given unto the wicked. Let me bring that one out, man, just to refresh my memory on the Job chapters 9. Yeah, I'm gonna let him finish off the video. Chapters 9 and 24 says, I think this is what you call a commissioner for reparations. A commissioner for reparations. So they're pleading, they're begging for reparations, right? Job chapters 9 and 24 says, the earth is given unto the hand of the wicked, he covereth the faces of the judges thereof, right? So the earth is given unto the hands of the wicked. That's why they're on horses right now, right? The paupers and the princes, if you've seen the movie The Prince and the Pauper, they exchange places. So that's an interesting movie. There's a lot of hidden gems in that movie. If you haven't seen that movie, check it out. The Prince and the Pauper. It goes back into, I think there was more than one made. There's one that was made in the 70s, and I think they made another one in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken. But one of those old classics, The Prince and the Pauper. And this is the same thing right here, back again. Yeah, Ecclesiastes 10 and 7 says, I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking upon the earth. Yeah, that says it very well. The princes and the paupers. The paupers are on the horses right now, and the princes are walking. Yeah.
Let us simply said to them that we were very tired and rather insulted by their approach of telling us things that we already knew. That we knew that slavery was horrible. They didn't have to tell us that. that we knew that genocide was committed. They didn't have to tell us that.
And they did not officially apologize. Because when you apologize about something, you demonstrate by your actions you're sorry, and you make up for either it be lost time, money, whatever it may be. That's what you call an apology. They just was acknowledging, yeah, this was horrible. Let's just give throw them some crumbs and say, yeah, we acknowledge that that slavery was a horrific thing. They didn't officially apologize. Yeah, it's a play on words, just a play on words, and those that are under Stockholm syndrome, they say, yeah, it wasn't no apology, man. It wasn't an apology because I didn't pay them reparations in any form of show any kind of sorry by their actions. That wasn't an apology.
That we knew that slavery was horrible. They didn't have to tell us that. That we knew that genocide was committed. They didn't have to tell us that. And our letter simply said to them, well, please, do not come here and insult us further by saying things that the Tony Blairs have already said, that your minister.
All right, well, that was a decent letter then. I'll give them that. That was a decent letter. Don't bother come here unless you have some money to talk. Money talks, which we know that we ain't getting no reparations. That's really spiritual. It's a spiritual reparations we're getting. But at least they know that don't accept no folly, right? Because money does talk, or actions talk louder than words.
Of Foreign Affairs had come and addressed the parliament in Jamaica, and looked at us as Caribbean people, as descendants of enslaved people, to tell us that we should forget it and just move on. That just let's forget this, move on. And that is essentially what
Yeah, that's what.
we said
Yeah, that's what David Cameron said.
in our letter. Now,
Yeah, that's what David Cameron said. Forget it and move on.
People to tell us that we should forget it and just move on. That just let's forget this, move on. And that is essentially what we said in our letter. Now, in response to your the other part of your question, of what does reparations look like for us? What does this moment mean to us in the reparations struggle? I think certainly that we're asking Britain to reassess its role in the intentional on the development of Africa and this Caribbean. Asking Britain to reassess its role in the genocide, in the plunder, in the violence that it exerted on African people on the continent and here in the Caribbean. And that in reassessing this role, that it must understand clearly that the morality of the situation, the ethics of the situation, calls for repair. And in that repair, we essentially are talking reparations, that you have committed crimes against humanity, and that there is a moral and an ethical demand that you acknowledge these crimes and you do your best in the best way you can to make whole the holes that you have really left in the history and in the lives of African people. I'm a member of the CARICOM Reparations Commission as chairperson of the Antigua and Barbuda Reparations Commission, and that commission has issued a 10-point plan that defines for the international community, defines for us here in the Caribbean, how we see reparations. The plan that we have issued is a development plan. It's in contrast, let's say, to the legacy reparations plan. In the first instance, it identifies those areas in our development across inviting is the word that I think we have to use at this point in time. Europe to sit at the table with us and to discuss this development plan, addressing areas in education, in health care. As Mutabarak has just said, we include in that this whole question of repatriation of those persons who want to go back to the continent. We are talking psychological. Yes.
All right, enough said on that. Enough said. We're gonna bring out some precepts now. You know, this is the sentiments over there in Jamaica. Go back home where my mother is from. You know, as far as my research tells me right now, I'm not a Benjamin. Potentially I'm a Judite, but I know of Jamaica and I know of a lot of Jamaicans. But that's on my mother's side of the family. But I see I see some of the struggles that the so-called Jamaicans have, which are the Benjamites, according to the Bible. I see a lot of their struggles, as we do with all of the tribes. Yeah, then the so-called Negroes, the Latinos, and the Native Americans. We see all the struggles, and we represent the Hebrew Israelites, the 12 tribes, and we're all under the same curses. So let me bring out some precept just to end it off, Akim. This is in Job chapters 20, and we can start from 19. It says, because ye have oppressed and have forsaken the poor, because ye have violently taken away an house which he built not. Right, this is talking about these colonizers. That's what they really should be called. Not any other kind of titles, role titles. They should be just called colonizers. Because they have oppressed and have forsaken the poor, or you might even call them thieves, killers, murderers. You might even call them that. And you wouldn't be overstating the matter. As it says in John chapters 10 and verse 10. The thief cometh not but to kill, to steal, and destroy. All of the above. That's what you should title them. Right? He has oppressed and have forsaken the poor, because he have violently taken away an house which he builded not. Surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save of that which he desired. Right. Let me jump up now to 15 of Job 20. He said, he have swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit them up again. God shall cast them out of his belly. Oh, this is the see how the Most High don't play, man. He can make you he can literally make you vomit it up again, literally, which is a sickness, right? I think it's called colic. When things don't settle in your stomach, you be moving around all unsettled. I think it's called colic, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's my physician hat. I'm going in right there. Yeah, colic or diarrhea if it comes out the other end. He shall suck down poison of apes, that viper's tongue shall slay him. Right. He shall not see rivers of floods and brooks of honey and butter. That which he labored for shall he restore, and shall not swallow it down. According to his substance shall the restitution be, and he shall not rejoice therein. 19 again. Because he have oppressed and have forsaken the poor, because he have violently taken away an house which he built not. Right, man, they covet fields, as it says in Micah chapters 2. Yeah, they don't sleep until they coveting and coveting so badly that it makes them sick. Yeah, it gives them insomnia. They covet so much that they suffer from insomnia, sleepless nights. Surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save all that which he desired. Right. 20. In the fullness of his sufficiency he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. Right. As we see here, people are talking, saying, go back. They don't want them in over there in their country. They are woke people to a certain extent. Although they may not know the Hebrew Israelites, they are aware of the wickedness, they're aware of their history and the monarchy's history. You see that? So justice is a fearful thing to fall unto the hands of the living God. Right. The increase of his house shall depart, and his goods shall flow away in the day of the Most High's wrath. Right. Let me jump up to 20. Said, all darkness shall be hid. Job chapters 26 and verse 20. All darkness shall be hid in his secret place, in fire not blown shall consume him. It shall go ill with him that is left in his tabernacle. The heavens shall reveal his iniquity. That's what's happening right now. Most High is exposing them. And the earth shall rise up against him. The earth is rising up against him. The people, yeah, the earth the truth. Things, you turn out, you pick up a stone, there's truth there. You can't hide from truth. Truth always wins out in the end. Yeah, the increase of his house shall depart, and his goods shall flow away in the day of his wrath, in the day of the Most High's wrath. This is the portion of a wicked man from Yahweh, and the heritage appointed unto him by Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua. Right, man. So just ending it off now with a couple of precepts, Akim. Right. We read the one in I'll read it again. Ecclesiastes 10:7 says, I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the horse. And we broke that one down. The true royalty, the true princes are not on horses, but the paupers and the thieves and the murderers and the killers are on the horses right now. They're in power. It's alright, because Yahushua going to turn the tables back when he returns, man. And that's brought out, let me read this one. That's well brought out in, we can end off with this one. Point is made. Point is already made, but I'm going to bring this one out. This is in, Revelation chapters 18 and 2 says, and he cried with a strong voice. This is what's happening now. The bricks are coming out bit by bit, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, it is fallen, and it is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Yeah. So, yeah, this kingdom is on its way out, man. Babylon, right? This is the modern day Babylon. The Romans are back here again. As a matter of fact, that reminds me of another precept that comes to mind now. This is in Habakkuk. Yeah. Habakkuk, we can jump down. We was in 2 earlier. We can read that one again first. Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 8 says, because thou hast spoiled many nations, and all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee. Because you have spoiled many nations, all the people going to come back and spoil thee. That's what you call Galatians chapter 6 and 7. Whatsoever a man soweth, that he shall also reap. Because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land of the city, and all that dwell therein. 12 now. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, and establish a city by iniquity. Yeah, that's what you've done. The monarchy. Yeah, the plunderers, the killers, the stealers, and the murderers. That's the real title for you, the monarchy. He says, woe unto you. Yeah, that means destruction. Woe unto him that buildeth a town with blood. Yeah, all the blood of the freedom fighters, as what he was saying, the former poet, radio host Mukumbaka, he went in and he said that, what about all those freedom fighters that died in the cause of fighting under that colonialism, that colonization? They fought to free themselves and others, thousands and thousands. Yeah, what about mourning those deaths? Well, they ain't gonna mourn those deaths, because that's where they want them. They want to kill them, because that's what killers and murderers and thieves do, right? But he's saying in Habakkuk 2 and 12, woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, and establish a city by iniquity. So destruction is upon them. Yeah, they've got the Most High's got a hit out for them. When someone is infamous, right, an infamous killer, what do? They send out a bounty hunt on their head. So the Most High's got a bounty hunt. Yeah, he's got them, he's marked them, and he's got a bounty hunt on their head. And it's just a matter of time, as it says in Revelation chapters 8 again. Yeah, he cried mighty with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, it is fallen, and it becoming an habitation of devils, and of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Right, there you go, man. As a matter of fact, the Spirit's back on me to bring this one out again, man. I gotta bring it out now. Back to Habakkuk chapters 2 and 16 says, thou art filled with shame, for glory drank thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered, and the cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. Right, this is shameful to them. All what they're coming out with now, the freedom fighters, yeah, which is partly a freedom fighter to as you speak, Mukumbaka, and what you call a whistleblower. Many whistleblowers are coming out now speaking about the shamefulness of what is been done to so-called people, freedom fighters under this colonialized monarch. Shameful spirit, the Most High is putting shame upon their glory, as it says there. Thee and shameful spirit shall be on thy glory. Giving our praises to Yahweh Shai. Ending with that. One last one. The shameful spirit is on thy glory right now. Isaiah 47, just to hit the ball at the park, overhand right knockout punch. And 3 says, thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yeah, the shame shall be seen. Shameful spirit on thy glory, yeah. But this one says, thy shame shall be seen, and I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. So we don't have to cry out for reparations or repatriation. Yeah, there's something much better than that, which is the Most High say you're going to take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. Giving our praises to Yahweh Shai. That is the solution. That is the solution of solutions when Yahweh Shai return as a spiritual being to end any kind of controversy, any kind of oppression and injustice that has been done to his children, Yasha Allah, the so-called black people. That is a solution of all solutions. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. Yes, because their shame, their nakedness shall be uncovered. Yeah, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. Yes, Shalom to the sincere Akim. The house of David is rising, and everything the wicked have done to us, past, present, and future, is falling upon their own head. Until the next one.